What if I told you the Italians took a crack at building their very own Dodge Viper? And no, this wasn't due to some sort of carb overdose, nor was it thanks to some sort of vino-induced fever dream. It was an actual car that they actually made. This is the Dodge Viper, and there is a very strong argument to be made that this is one of, if not the most American car ever made. Sure, it swapped out the traditional thunder of a big American V8 in favor of the howl of a V10. However, they did it in such a way that there was no questioning who was responsible for that car. The Viper very famously started life as a small project with a few dudes over at Chrysler trying to build a car that would not only take on the might of the quintessential American sports car, i.e. the Corvette, but also take on the best Europe had to offer and beat them. Now, when I say beat, it's not exactly the best word to describe what the Viper did to its European competition. See, bludgeon would be a more apt description. See, the Viper's engine, it started as a truck engine, but it was too heavy and wasn't going to do in a sports car, so Chrysler, who owned Lamborghini at the time, sent the engine over to Lambo and said, hey, you're good at casting aluminum, make us an aluminum version of this engine. And once they got that all figured out, they slapped the engine in, gave the Viper pretty much no creature comforts, and then it set about dusting pretty much all of its competition. It did so both on the street and on the racetrack, and it really didn't matter what side of the Atlantic you were on. Fast forward to 2010, and well, the new Viper, well, it was catching the eye of some of the Italians. See, at the time, Chrysler was owned by Fiat, who just so happened to own Ferrari and also Alfa Romeo. Now, well, just call them snobs over at Ferrari wouldn't ever be caught messing around with the Viper. The slightly less hinged folks over at Alfa Romeo took one look at the Viper and said, yeah, we need to make one of those. Now, in the eyes of Alfa Romeo, the Viper was an incredible machine. They loved the big-ass V10 engine. They loved the Tremec manual transmission. However, that body, well, it wasn't really Italian enough for them. So they called up their good friends over at Zagato Coachworks, had a bespoke, brand new, quite beautiful if I'm honest, body made for their new car. With the body done, they turned their attention to the interior. Now, Viper interiors, they're never really going to be considered luxurious, and well, the Italians, this wasn't going to do for them. So they took the interior, draped it in some very nice materials, leather, etc., and with the body and the new interior, the new car was done. The only thing left for them to do was to give the car a name, and they decided on the TZ3 Stradale Zagato. And well, they made 9 of them, and each car came with a price tag that started at $700,000.